to Book Over, a little book club where we talk about books, especially the ones that give us book hangovers. I'm Sarah, with me is Bree.
Hi.
And today we are continuing our pool party with The Pool Boy.
Woo, I love it so much.
I know. Okay, so this one's by Nikki Sloane. Sloane? If I'm saying her name right. And I've kept my eye on this book. It's not on Kindle Unlimited, so one of the reasons I didn't read it. And then I actually saw there was another book that's coming out soon by her called Good Girl, and I was intrigued by the cover, which is just like heart sunglasses, right?
Yeah, but I think it was more the title that was intriguing,
right?
Than the cover itself.
And then I've seen this cover a few times, and I was looking for a summer read, and then I was like, you know what, just read it. And I started reading it, and that's about the time I decided to do the pool party.
Yeah, I had not heard of it until you told me about this episode. So I'm very glad you did because I loved this book. I've read another series by Nikki. I think it was the American Royals or something like that. I read it a long time ago. That one wasn't on Kindle Unlimited either, but I kind of knew about her, but her books aren't really on Kindle Unlimited, so I don't always see them. So, but yeah, this one was really good. Definitely worth it.
Yes. Yeah. So, okay, this is another taboo romance. Is this what they call a reverse taboo? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so this time the female is older and the male is younger.
Mm-hmm.
And I was worried about it because I was like, is this all gonna be like steam and like smuttiness and like no plot? Like, what's
Yeah.
it gonna be? It's so good.
It's so good. They have such like a romantic little love story. Like it's definitely not all steam. I mean, there is steam.
Yes.
It's good. But and like I feel like sometimes like when the female is older, like I've read a few of those and it's kind of all just like a fantasy thing for the guy and it's not like super romantic. Like it's just kind of like checking something off of his little bucket list.
Oh yeah.
And this did not give that vibe at all. Like it wasn't like creepy or cringy or anything. It was
No.
so good.
It was really good. And I felt like it the storyline, there's a good storyline to it. There's plot
Yes.
to it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you getting so many layers to this. And you've like I was nervous at one point in the book because I was like, I'm scared that they're not going to end up together. Like there was a
I
point
was
where
worried she was gonna somehow go back to her husband.
right, like I was just like she was gonna move on or he was gonna move on, like let his mom's a bit much, which I totally understand because it's realistic. But like I was so worried. And there's a movie and I forgot the name of the movie where it's like an age gap and they ended up not together at the end. And I think it's traumatized me where I'm like, oh no, like they're gonna just be like
I know. And I've read one where it's kind of like, like a little bit like of a taboo. Like I think it was kind of like a cheating husband situation. And then she went back to the husband. And I'm like, oh man, like this sucks. I hate this for me. And I was so worried that this was gonna happen with this one, but it was happily ever after, or
it was, yeah.
for now, I guess. We don't know.
I mean, I'm gonna say they are. I have a feeling that the rest, because I want to go back and read the other books in this series because it's like the Nashville.
Yeah, I think I'll feel better about it once we kind of get some peeps of them from other characters' stories. There's just some like where I'm like, oh, I'm a little nervous that, like in real life, I'm nervous. Like my real life brain kicks in and I'm like, I don't know about this, but yeah, I did love them.
Yeah, I love them. So, I thought it started really well. So you get Erica and she finds her husband cheating on her with his friend slash boss. And so she's like, oh, okay, so not only is he cheating on her, but he's also gay. And she's like, oh.
Yeah.
So that's like a lot. And that explains a lot though for her, because she's like, he didn't want to sleep with me. He didn't comment on his body. Like he didn't seem to care.
He was very like brushing her off.
Yeah.
More so before she even found out. And like she already kind of knew something was up. Like she just thought there was something wrong with her, which probably caused a lot of insecurities. And she had a lot to work on, before she met Troy.
Yeah. So Troy is her. So she worked on herself. She was working out.
It was like a year, I think, in
Yeah.
between like when she formally like she met Troy in a different way than she had met him as her friend's son.
Yeah, so
As
her
her
best
pool
friend's
boy.
son, yeah, and he's her pool boy, but she never saw him because he would go when she was at work.
Mhm.
And then I love it, like stuff happened, like work, I think like the AC broke, and so
Yeah,
she
the AC
decided to
broke
go
and she was
home.
working from home the rest of the day, and she decides to take a tanning session out at the pool.
Yeah.
Gets a
I
little
love it.
topless.
Yeah, and Troy shows up to clean the pool, and like she like drops her phone or something. She goes to pick up something, and like he sees her, and he's just like they
Frozen in place. Like all his dreams have come true in that exact moment. And
yes,
he doesn't react, like he doesn't say anything, he doesn't run away, he doesn't cover his eyes. He's just standing there like staring at her essentially. And so I think he ends up
he takes
running
off. She takes
running
off,
off
and
of
he
it.
takes off into the
Yeah.
pool house, the pool shed area. But then
Hmm.
she comes back, and
Yes.
she joins him in the pool shed, and they don't interact in a way. Well, they don't touch each other. They touch themselves, and it's amazing.
I was not expecting that at all, but it was probably, I mean, they didn't even have to touch each other, and I feel like that was kind of like one of the most intimate, steamy
Yes.
scenes I've read in a long time. I mean, because that's a very intimate thing to do in front of somebody that you
Mhm.
don't know very well, and
It was
it was
good.
spicy.
It was so steamy. It was so spicy. And like they're in this hot, like pool shed in Nashville. And like it like you can just I was just like, this is good. And I was like,
This
oh,
is
oh, this
It
is a
was
good book.
unexpected, and it was I thought it was really done very well. Like I would have,
Mhm.
if you would have asked me to pick a scene, I would have never came up with that ever. So
No,
like it was really,
it was really good. And
yeah.
so I like from that scene, it's just like it kind of catapults them into this thing. And she's thinking he's like interested, he's, just interested because of her body or because he's a guy. And then you find out that he's had a crush on her for 5 years.
That was on my list of, one of my like favorite things is when she's asking him like so I guess we could talk about like where she goes to the bar in Nashville to see like one of her performers, and I think he performs after one of
Mhm.
her talent, because she's a talent agent. And she sees him and she's like, "Oh my God, he's amazing. Like he sings so good. He plays like he could probably use some work, but he had a lot of talent, and she wants to sign him and get him. What is the famous singer's name? I can't think.
Gosh,
She's kind of like based on Taylor Swift a little bit, in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah. So there's a singer, and she's decided to do a promo sort where like you can compete to be part of her opening to her concert.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
and so
there's a
she
whole
wants him.
competition, and Erica thinks Troy is perfect for it. And he's like, no, I don't want to do it because he's faced like some disappointment before where he's had a coach that told him he was going to go far in baseball and it didn't work out. And his parents want him to take over the family business. And he just has like a lot of pressure on him, and he doesn't want to do something that's not going to work out. So he's like, no. And then they talk about it, and he unveils that he learned to play guitar because he wanted to impress her like 5 years ago or something like
Yeah.
that. And I thought that was so cute that he watched YouTube and taught himself how to play the guitar
Mhm.
just to impress basically his mom's friend.
Friend. Yeah. But that
And
like that just showed like for
it
me,
wasn't just like a checking off a sexual bucket list for
yes.
him. Like it wasn't just like a MILF situation.
Right. Yeah, he
It
actually cared about her too. Like he was upset to find out like her husband cheated on her. Like he
Mhm.
was like literally upset for her. Like how
Yeah.
dare him treat you like that? And then he was upset cuz he overheard her play. She played at a anniversary party or something, right? And he was there, and then later she was like trying to get her husband to like sneak somewhere to like get it on, and he
Mhm.
totally turned her down, and he was like, what is wrong with
Yeah.
this guy? And he's like told her like, oh, I would have done this. And it's just like it's like you think of like a young college-ish student. He just graduated college, so
Mhm.
like wouldn't really like think these things,
Yeah,
like a
he's very, like,
fantasy. And
emotionally mature,
mhm.
like, he's always kind of had feelings for her, and there was more to it than just
Yeah.
that. And I really loved that. I mean, because I feel like sometimes, especially when it's like the older female, younger male kind of thing, it does get like a little bit tropey, I guess, like where it's like the guy is just into it because he's into it, not
Yeah.
because he develops actual feelings. But I like when the feelings happen first.
Yeah.
Like the little crush. I just love like when they've had a crush on somebody for several years before the story begins. Like I always fall in love with those storylines.
Right. Me
So.
too. Yeah. I liked that. And I liked that like he he's like there for her too.
Mhm.
Like and he puts in the work like to show her it's not just
Yes, he definitely
yeah,
like he never tries to stop convincing her, that he's in it for like the long haul and he doesn't want this to just be like a short little fling. Like
right.
like I feel like at the beginning she's like, "Oh, okay, it's okay if this is a fling," but he, wants to prove that it's not that for him. Like she's endgame for him.
Right. Yeah, I know. I love that. And I love that like so she sets off like boundaries too. So like they get together at the house a few times and then like but she wants him to do this concert thing like to win it. And so
Mhm.
he comes to visit her office because she's gonna like rep him and she's like, we have to keep it separate. And there's like a part where like he tries to like kind of flirt and come on to her and she's like, you can't. And he's like, oh crap. Like he took it serious though, which I was like, good for him. Like I really
Yeah,
like that. Like she set the boundaries and he like
was
followed.
very respectful of
Yeah.
them. And, I feel like it just showed how mature he was,
Yeah.
like, because a lot of college age guys are not gonna always be like that, respectful of everything. So, and especially in the books we read, they're not always that
Yeah.
respectful of boundaries. So, I really liked that about him. And he was just such a sweetheart. Like, he's one of probably my favorite book guy because he's just so nice. Like he's
Mhm.
really and I liked that there was like never like he never gave her like the feeling that he wanted to be with like another girl that was like more similar to his. Well, she kind of took it that way.
Right. She took it that way, but like I like really he messed up in the fact that he wasn't completely like upfront on stuff. So,
Yes.
but then you think about there's
But
a
then he
scene.
was trying to surprise her.
I know, and it totally works. So okay. But there, okay, back up though. There's like a scene where like the neighbors are having a party, which I totally want to read that story. I haven't. I think it's the doctor one. So
Yeah,
like
I want
her
to read that one.
neighbor
I'm gonna
is
go back.
with a young woman and it's Troy's best friend's dad and used to be a friend, maybe girlfriend, I'm not sure what that one was. So anyways, but they're having like a pool party and she stops by to actually like gripe about HOS stuff. But anyways, and then she asked the guy, the older
Uh-huh.
man,
She
like
asks
how
like for advice.
yeah, for advice, but then Troy sees her there and he like ditches all of his friends to just like be with her, and I'm like that,
Mhm.
like I liked that.
Yeah.
And then he does so he gets to go out to dinner with the rock star person and her friends um and he ends up out late and then Erica finds out that he ended up spending the night at her house.
Yeah, like through like TMZ or, some
Yeah, yeah, and
gossip.
so she flips and like he hesitates like when she calls him and he drops everything and drives to her work to talk
Yes,
to her about it.
that's like that's a gesture, man. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, he I don't feel like he really got defensive over it. Like he knew he messed up.
Yeah.
And he messed up by like lying to her. And like I feel like he was very regretful over like how he handled the situation.
I,
So I really liked I just like I couldn't find any faults with him, which never
I
happens.
know, I know. Well, and I felt like he was really scared in that moment. Like he was really scared of her leaving him. He
Yeah,
was
I mean, because
scared that he was gonna mess up and that it wasn't gonna work out.
he knew what she had went through with her ex-husband. So like I feel like he was like, this is gonna be the thing that like would make her not want to be with
Mhm.
me anymore. And like he was genuinely like he wasn't like, oh, whatever, if you don't believe me, then
Yeah.
don't
He
believe
does
me.
leave though. He gets really mad at her.
Yes.
His mom said some stuff and there was a fight with his mom, but even in the mom's like, she's too old for you. And he's like, no, I think she's perfect. And that was just like, oh, I loved that so much. I'm
I
like,
know.
good job. Like, so like but he left. He's like, you know what, get out. Like, I'm going, I need to cool down now. And
Yeah, but I feel like it was just so like it wasn't because he was mad at her. I think he just didn't want to say anything that he would
yeah,
regret in the
which,
moment.
how mature is that?
I know. I just like I love emotionally mature men. Like
Right? Well, and then he
You're
texts
not
her,
expecting them to be, like, he's
right?
not, like, the picture of who I would expect to be, like, an emotionally mature man.
No,
Even in a book, he's not the picture of what I was so, like, I really respect that, he took a step back from the conversation and didn't just, like, be like, "Okay, well, if that's what you wanna believe, then believe it." Like, he left
right?
and, like,
Yeah,
tried to handle things the right way,
yeah.
which I really love.
I love that too, and I love that, like, he messaged her and was like, "I'm sorry," and, like, I believe in us, for
Mhm.
us, for the both of us, like,
Yes.
give us a chance, and I love the scene where, like, she comes so it's concert day, he wins the whole thing, and, um, she comes to, like, check in on him, and, like, she, like, does this whole spiel about basically, like, "I love you" thing, like, the big talk, and
The
then
the
his
big
his
talk.
mom and stepdad are in the room, and, like,
Yeah.
that's so awkward, but it ended up really good at like, and I feel like that was good that it was just out there and them to hear her, like, genuinely say her feelings about him and how
Yeah.
it's more,
I feel
right?
like that kind of will help them come around to the
Yeah,
situation that their son is now in, like, I feel like, they probably just thought, like, both of them were just in it for a short-term thing, or, like, Erica was making promises to Troy about, like, his music career that, she wasn't gonna be able to keep,
right.
and I think they realized that they're very serious on each other, probably still don't like it. Sorry.
No, you're
But,
fine.
you know,
Yeah,
they realize that, she genuinely cares about him and he genuinely cares about
yeah,
her. So
yeah. Well, and then he surprised her. So, like, he does the opening act, which is great, and then he ended up coming on the stage and doing a duet, and that's why he spent the night was so they could practice the duet,
mhm.
and, um, the thing is that Eric has a songwriter too, and so it was, like, this whole thing, and it was this yeah, I just, like Troy is a winner. Like, she's a lucky lady. Like, he's I was like, this was the pool boy, and I loved, like, how that plays into it because they were, like, calling him, like, I think that was, like, when they voted for the bands, it's like, "Oh, vote for the pool boy,"
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I thought it was, like, a cute, like, because he was a normal guy, like, it wasn't like, he was already, like, a well-known, like, singer,
yeah,
artist, like, performing, like, he, like, developed his because he kinda didn't really know what he wanted to do really, like, he wanted to probably perform, but after his baseball incident, he didn't think that he was going to be
yeah,
able to, like, take music seriously as a career because it was a risk, but he didn't wanna work at his dad's or his stepdad's business, and he didn't wanna be a pool boy forever, so, like, I like that
well, he
like,
was
I feel
only her pool boy.
yeah, exactly, so, like, I feel like Erica gave Troy a lot, but Troy gave Erica like, they
Yeah,
kind of helped them, like, Troy helped Erica, like, come over her insecurities and, just, like, realize that she was an attractive woman and, like, she deserved more than what she was getting with her ex-husband, and, like, she helped
yeah,
launch his career and,
yeah,
made him see that, like, he is capable of things, like, even if he's faced, like, disappointment in the past.
mhm,
Because his parents did not want him to do anything like that, like, they just wanted somebody to take over the family business, and, I liked that he didn't conform to what his
right,
parents
yeah, yeah.
do.
Yeah, I like that. Like, he was helping. I like that he was helping, but he was so fed up with helping, and he was like, "This isn't I'm, like, the best
Yeah,
worker you have, and you're paying me, like, barely anything," and then, like, the mom was just so stuck on, like, "You're helping the family, and don't take risks," and I can see how you can fall in that, but yeah, I just
you gotta be happy at the end of the day, and he was
yeah,
never gonna be happy
no.
doing construction,
Yeah.
so
And now I'm just so happy for the both of them. It was just so good. And like there were so many scenes, you guys, when you read this of them, like their relationship developing more. It's like not just a crush. And then like there's the steamy scenes, but then there's like the scenes in between that where like they're, having like a moment. And it's just
they had, like, they were talking all night long and, like, you really feel like, behind like, you didn't necessarily see them getting to know each other, but, like, it was implied that, like,
yeah.
it wasn't just, like, a instant, like, "I'm in love with you" situation,
Mhm.
like, it was, like, there was, like, a lot of development of their relationship that kind of went on behind the scenes because I think they made a point, like, at least a few times to say, like, they talked for hours
Yeah.
and, like, you could just tell that there was, like, a lot of relationship development that we didn't necessarily get to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It was
loved it.
good.
It was so good. Now I think that might be, like, my next thing is going back to read the
Mhm.
first one.
Yeah. There's a couple before it. There's like the architect,
Okay,
the
and then the
doctor,
doctor.
the frat boy.
Oh, there's more than I thought there was. Okay.
Yeah. And then there's The Good Girl, or Good Girl, yeah. And so that one I really want to read Good Girl, and I think it's just the cover and the title of it, and that comes out at the end of August, early September, or something like
Okay,
that.
so by the
Yeah.
time I read the other ones, I should be there. So
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I'm totally reading the other ones because this book really, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed it. And it's not a short book, like it's a decent size. It was a good read, and it just
I
has
read it
all the
so
layers.
quick.
I know, me too.
I I think I read it maybe I started reading it like at night, and I think I finished it like the next day, maybe the day after.
I
Like I
read it
read it
pretty fast too.
really
It was
fast.
really good.
It really kept you interested and kind
Mm.
of, you know,
The
it
only
moved the
time I slowed down was when I was nervous. It was before they even had the argument, but I was like too happy. I was feeling too happy with them that I was so
and there was
afraid.
still so much of the book left, and that's when you start like being like, "Oh my God, what's gonna happen?"
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the only time I slowed down, was like, okay, like I'm afraid of like this not
I know.
ending well.
Like when things are too good and like there's still like 60% of the book left and you're like, okay, maybe I need to take a break
Yeah.
until I'm emotionally stable enough to finish this.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
know something's coming.
Yeah. All right. It was a good read, everybody. Thank you for joining the pool party, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Yeah.